What was the first problem that he asked you to solve in the company?
The company was losing money 9 consecutive years. My mission was very clear, to make this company profitable and sustainable.
What was the first thing that you actually did? What do you actually fix in order to make it profitable?
One of the first things I had to do was lay off some people. Because company was losing money and productivity was low, right when we started making profit, choose a landed project called My Friend's Figure and Pooh from Disney. The animation we made was very good, but we lost money in the first season.
Do you and Suzhou have any ownership in the company back then?
No, we did have stock option in the venture capital stage,
Right.
but when we were sold to Amana, we had to give it up.
How was Japanese 3D animation scene back then?
Most of Japanese CG studios went into game trailers. So that was the main thing in Japan back then.
Yeah, like the Final Fantasies and stuff,
Right.
But why are you looking to expand outside of Japan?
It was starting to become harder to find talents in Japan. We just needed somewhere else to find the resources.
And what are your thoughts on AI?
I have a friend, he's now into like AI. He said, when you create CG animation, it's a very inefficient way of making animation. What if AI can actually convert the 2D into 3D look?
And do you see it having a huge impact on the workforce of even more artists losing their job in the future?
I think it's
Hey guys, before we jump into today's episode, me and Jim would like to ask you for a quick favor. It turns out that over half of the people who tune into the Entrepreneur Journal haven't subscribed yet.
And if you've been enjoying the conversation that we're having, the raw stories, the strategies, the lesson from creatives, athletes, founders, and dreamers, the best way to spot us is simple. Just hit that subscribe button.
Well, it's free. It just takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps us to keep the show going and growing.
And here's our promise to you. We're going to keep showing up with better guests, deeper stories, and better production quality every single week. Now, thank you for being here. Let's get into the episode. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Entrepreneur's Journal. So today, we are joined by a visionary leader who is quietly shaping the future of the animation industry, not just in Japan, but here in Southeast Asia as well. So he's the CEO of Polygon Pictures Malaysia and the executive officer in Polygon Pictures Japan, one of the most respected and long-standing 3D animation studio, perhaps in the world as well. Known for his groundbreaking titles like Transformer, Prime, Knights of Sidonia, and Ajin Demi-Humans. So in this episode, we're not talking about any animation pipeline or visual effects, but we are diving deep into the evolution of Japan creative industry and why Polygon Pictures investing in Malaysia, as well as the challenges of cultural production and what it takes to build a globally competitive animation studio outside of Tokyo. So let's welcome
Yoichi-san.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me here, and thanks for the introduction.
Yeah. So, Yoichi-san, I think it's very interesting for you to be here as well as talking about like the animation industry, because from what I know, before you came into the animation industry, you were not in the animation industry at all, like a totally not related industry. So who were you before all of this, and how did you came into the animation industry?
So before joining Polygon Pictures, I was a management consultant for about 13 and a half years. I was first working for a Japanese consulting firm, Japan Management Association. Then after I did my MBA, I joined AT Kearney, which is a US-based consulting firm, and I was there for the Tokyo office. And then I think 2006, Shuza, who's the current president of Polygon Pictures, called me to join. And I jumped the ship.
Okay. That's when you're not knowing anything about the animation industry at all.
Right,
and you just jump in.
Right.
Right.
So Shuzo wanted to find a replacement for his COO position.
Okay.
So I kind of took the offer because I was doing consulting for so many years, and I also did my MBA, and I started to wonder, hey, what is it really like to actually run a company rather than, advising the company as a consultant? And, like business school, they teach you how to run a company. So I wanted to kind of try and see, what is it like to actually run the company? And that's when Shizo called me, so I took the opportunity.
I see.
And when you met Suzo?
So it's kind of a long story, but I've known Shuzo for more than 40 years.
Wow,
Wow.
40 years.
40 years.
Oh, very
so
good friend.
we met.
I haven't even born 40 years ago.
Makes me feel old. Okay. So Shuzo and I met actually in San Francisco. So we're both, kids of expat parents.
Okay.
So his father works for a bank, a Japanese bank, and my father worked for a Japanese manufacturing company, and they were both transferred to San Jose, California, and we met there in one of the Saturday school. It's for Japanese kids. It's a school that keeps the kids, Japanese expat kids, keep up with the Japanese education system. So that's where I met.
I see. So you growing up in US basically for
Right.
how many years in the
So
US?
so I was there from age 12 to 18 until I graduated high school. That was my first round living in the U.S. And then I moved back to Japan for my college study. But right after I joined my first job in consulting, they sent me back to San Jose. So I actually did a consulting in the U.S. for about 6 years.
But why decided you don't want to like really stay in the US and you move back to Japan?
So after spending 6 years middle school and high school in the U.S., I was so used to it that I wanted to go to the U.S. college. But my father was getting worried that I'm starting to lose my Japanese because I was starting to speak weird Japanese. So he says, you better go back to Japan and restudy Japanese. Yeah, and I kind of resisted in the beginning, but more and more I thought about it. I kind of thought, well, it kind of makes sense. It's probably a good time for me to go back to Japan and kind of relearn the culture again. So yes, I decided to come back, and I went back to Japan, study industry engineering.
Industrial engineering.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Waseda University. Yeah.
I see. And Sujo was already back in Japan already at the time?
He was already back in Japan earlier than I was. He was in the U.S. from his elementary school days until I think he was like 15 or 16. So he was already back there.
I see.
So during in San Francisco, days, you met Suzo in San Francisco, right? So how was the relationship and how you all grew up in, being an expat in San
Yeah,
Fran?
so we kind of got along because we had two common hobbies. One was playing tennis, and the other was playing guitar and listening to rock music back then.
Right.
So we were always on the same bus going to San Francisco Saturday school. So we would listen to Walkman back then. Just came out, right?
Before the iPod era.
Right. So we used to listen to rock music that he likes, that I like on a Walkman. And, we talked about the music and everything. That's how we got along in the very beginning. And so it happened that, he started playing guitar, I started playing guitar. And we formed a band. And even in the Polygon Pictures, we have a company band where he sings and I play guitar.
Oh, okay, right.
I seen you play before.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I mean, I seen you play before, and I really got a shock on how good you are. with
Not good, not that
with
good.
the solo and riffs and everything. Yeah, that's So after that, when you came back to Japan, Suzuzo was already started the Polygon Pictures in Japan.
No,
Is that-
actually, he's not the founder. So
Okay.
Polygon Picture was founded by a guy named Toshifumi Kawahara.
Okay.
And he was kind of a visionary as well. And he was a true entrepreneur where he studied computer graphics in UCLA. And he came back to Japan and started exploring, the potential of computer graphics in Japan. So first, I heard this story that he first started by importing some of the CG-related publications to Japan. And back then, creating computer graphics was so expensive. You had to buy the powerful computers and everything. So that's how he started. And only after that, because back then there was no software like Autodesk Maya.
It was back in 1983 or something like that.
So the company was established in 1983, and they had to actually start from creating their own computer graphics software. So that's how it got started.
Right. And back then when they established in 1983, you and Suzo was not in
No,
in the picture at all.
not at all.
Right.
Shuzo joined Polygon Pictures when there was opportunity for the company to expand and do a feature film project. And I think originally Shuzo was consulting for Polygon Pictures, and they funded for this feature film to be producing in Japan. And they actually gathered a lot of American artists to train Japanese artists, and also hired a lot of animators from 2D industry to convert them into CG artists.
Right.
They spent a lot of money and time into it, but in middle of the process, the project got canceled, and because of all the investment that was made already, Polygon Pictures decided to take over everything and say, we will continue this journey
I see.
in Polygon Pictures rather than with the other companies for this particular feature film project. And that's when Toshifumi Kahara, the founder, invited Shuzo to join the company.
Oh, I see.
Then Suzo, is also in business consulting firm, or he actually already...
He was originally working for Nippon Steel. He was working for steel company.
Oh, okay.
But he decided to leave, and he became like an independent consultant. And his friend introduced Polygon Pictures to him, and because Shuzo was spoke fluent English, so he became like the liaison between the U.S. market and Polygon Pictures.
Oh, I see.
I see.
Then talking about yourself, you are in the business consulting world for so many years, and then in animation there's a lot of pipeline production.
So technical.
And it's chaos, right?
Artistic chaos.
So what makes you from business consulting? Other than you wanted to run a business, because I think there's a lot of business that you
could have run.
Yeah, correct. But why choose animation?
So one of the reasons was I was excited to be able to work with Shuzo. That's one thing.
I see.
Okay.
Another thing was I found computer graphics animation production to be very similar to manufacturing, which was my specialty in consulting. So my specialty in my first consulting firm was streamlining the operation and productivity improvement, quality improvement. And if you come to think of it, animation production is just like manufacturing, where I think you're in the industry before, so first it starts with modeling, and then the material gets sent to rigging stage, and rigging guys do the rigging and sent to animation, right? So it's pretty much the same manufacturing process. So I felt like all my knowledge in manufacturing could be transferred to computer graphics animation, and at the same time my responsibility was more on management in a company and back office. So I didn't feel so uncomfortable going in because I know the company did have some management issues or challenges. So this is where I thought I would fit in as for the missing piece.
I see. And was it as expected, manufacturing to animation, your knowledge transfer to? Is it?
In some way, yes, and in other way, no. The culture was so different.
Yeah.
So,
it is.
but the process itself is quite similar.
Right. So did you get a culture shock when you went in there?
Yeah, it's one of the first thing. This is a funny episode, but I think it was within the first week of my joining, right? And there was a global email going out inside the office, right? And then one of this lady artists, sent an email, said, those crabs in a beach, right?
Yeah.
She said one of those crabs run away, so please don't step on it. And if you find it, let me know. And I was
hermit crabs kind of
hermit
thing.
crab. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. So I was going, what the hell? It's who has hermit crab in your office? And I think it was a reference for some of the animation they were doing.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I remember thinking like, wow, it's such a different culture here.
Nothing like people always thought it's like a factory production line, but when it comes to artists, there's a lot of cultural differences, and the characteristic and the personality of an artist compared to a lot of different industry is drastically different. That's why a lot of people, when they come into from other industry, when they come into the animation industry particularly, they always find that culture shock of how artists actually thinks and how they how they respond to stuff.
When I joined the company, they also had a bird in office, and they also had carp.
Oh, sorry,
like,
what?
Carp. It's a fish.
Oh,
in
carp.
like a small,
okay.
small like
Okay.
pond or probably it was like 6 months later or so. We had to move out because we were expanding, and we wanted to move out to the other office. And when we were trying to move out, the landlord came in and said, you had to pay for restoration because you are not supposed to have pets
in office.
in the
It's
office.
like a mini zoo.
So they charged us for replacing all the carpets and everything.
Oh man.
And therefore, I had to tell everybody, say, no more,
no more pets.
in office. In the next office move, then everyone's like, oh, but I had to enforce it. So,
I see.
that's a culture change. Difference.
That's funny. Just moving back a bit before all this. So how did transition to Suzhou and you, like Suzhou becoming a CEO and you becoming back then was the vice president, if I'm correct. How did feel us a bit more like the story of how the transition and the history of like changing ownership and stuff like that.
Okay, so Polygon Picture was originally founded by Kawahara, Mr. Kawahara.
Yeah.
And he was quite successful in the very beginning. However, after certain years, they got into financial challenges. And then that's when venture capitalists came in and they injected more cash into it to revamp it. However, it didn't go well. And they actually had to change the management. So basically, the founder had to leave the company.
I see.
And the venture capitals assigned their own CEO. So there was a time where venture capital was mainly running the company. And that's actually when we actually started doing service work for hire. Until then, Mr. Kawahara was more into creating their own IP. And a few years later, the venture capitalists assigned Shizo as their designated CEO. So, and that's when he invited me to join because he was just he was just assigned as the CEO. So he needed the right hand man, and he called me.
I see.
Then, a few years later, I think it was 2011, venture capitalists had to exit. So we were sold to a public listed company called Amana. So we were owned, like majority, 90% was owned by Amana. So we became a small division of a huge company.
Do you and Suzhou have any ownership in the company back then?
No. We did have stock option in the venture capital days, but when we were sold to Amana, we had to give it up. So now instead of independent studio, we became part of a huge company that actually do like lots of TV commercials. But a few years later, we decided to do a management buyout. So with help from Kodansha and King Records, who are one of the biggest book publishers in Japan, we were able to do the buyout. And now basically 51% is owned by our management team and 49% is owned by King Records, who are a subsidiary of Kodansha.
I see.
I see.
Interesting.
When when Suzo managed to, join API, what was the first problem that he asked you to solve in a company?
Well, it was very clear because the company was losing money 9 consecutive years when I joined.
Oh, I see.
Wow.
So my mission was very clear to make this company profitable and sustainable. so yeah, it was very, very clear mission, very clear
I
mission.
see, I
And
see,
of
I
course, at the time, venture capitalists owned the company. So their incentive was to make this company go public.
I see. Then, while you are fixing the whole company financial, what was the first thing that you actually did, and what do you see the whole picture of Polygon Picture, and what do you actually fix in order to make it profit?
So one of the first thing I did or I had to do was actually lay off some people, and it was probably the most difficult thing I ever
For
done.
sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Because company was losing money and productivity was low, I had to let go some of the people, and at the same time, I had to do a pay cut to everyone in the office.
Wow.
And I'm the one proposed that to Shuzo, so that means I didn't want Shuzo to do the interview, so I did.
So you'll be the bad
So you
guy.
better
I be the bad guy, and it's probably easier for me because I didn't know them personally.
You're like
New guy.
new guy coming in.
So I sit down with almost everyone and tell them the bad news, but also give them the hope that once we make profit, you'll get the your pay back to what it was,
Yeah.
and also possibility of brighter future once we start making profits. So when I joined in 2006 January, the fiscal year was about to end in May. So I had to struggle to make sure that we make profit by May.
Wow.
1 year.
6 months.
6 months.
6 months or
basically.
5 months actually.
Wow.
5 months.
5 months.
So I had to take the
The responsibility.
and desperate measure. So by May, we actually were able to make a profit.
How far away back then from profitability you guys were? Like
They were
a
losing.
lot.
They were losing.
they were losing a lot, or you're close to coming to profitability, or what's the gap that you're supposed
It was I didn't take that chance unless I thought it was possible. So
Okay.
we were close to making profits,
Okay,
but we had to have some extra step to get there.
right.
So hence the hard decision that I had to make.
I
I
see.
see. So that was the first decision you have to make
Yeah.
in order to lay off, in order to make sure the company can survive along the way.
Right.
Well, but in 6 months you are able to make the company profit, right? Or
Yeah, but I was just a missing piece. Shuzo found me because it was a missing piece who just, needed to look in it from the business side and make that hard decision. Almost everything else was there. Polygon,
I see.
even before I joined, it had a pretty good pipeline and great artists. So, I was just filling that particular missing piece.
What year was this?
That was 2006.
I see.
So how did, when you had to make that difficult decision, coming in as a new guy, playing the bad cop, how did the whole team took it, like the people perception of you back then?
So first of all, it made me, think myself that, okay, this is the first layout, but the last layoff that I will be doing.
Okay.
And going in, one of the things that really surprised me was, there's some youngsters, a young girl like crying in front of me, right? So that was a really, experience that I don't want to repeat again.
Yeah, and stuff.
But there are some people who just accepted, the thing as is. Said, I understand, the company is losing money. This company hasn't made money in many years that I know. So it's understandable. But some people actually, left because they didn't see the future in the company. So they decided to leave after, we announced a pay cut. And they didn't see the future. So I'm grateful that some of the key players stayed with us, stuck with us, and survived through all these hard. And the people that actually went through this hard time are probably the key players right now.
For sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stay until today.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because
Really
when
good.
you grow with the company, definitely you know all the ins and outs, the
Yeah,
loyalty and
yeah,
everything. Yeah. For
I
sure.
understand. But then, is there any moment, right, that you felt that, well, got all the pressure that you have like during the 6 months period of time? Do you think that there's a moment where you felt like, oh, this might not be working out, or there's nothing of this statement in your head? It has to work out.
Actually, from the very beginning, the people who stayed was very, very cooperative.
Mm.
And we monitor the progress of profit, and I shared with everyone in like in all staff meetings that, okay, this is where we are today compared to the last month. This is the improvement we made. And as it gets closer, people get motivated to make sure that it happens. So they monitor the profitability more closely.
So you guys were open about the profitability,
Yeah,
the
of course.
numbers and everything
Yes.
to all the employees.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was quite confident that we will make it with the people. So yeah, it was I didn't have a doubt. Maybe like in the first month or so, but after, going through the process with everyone, I was quite sure that, yeah, we can make a profit.
But during your, let's go back a bit, during your business consulting, right, I believe you have analyzed and researched, do a lot of like business analysis towards different industry, and then you chose animation. And we all know that, also previously I founded a company as well, running an animation team. It's not really easy to actually manage finance, especially in animation, because there's a lot of factor that it will involve. Like, how confident are you that time? Like, because you saw there was 9 years of, that's
profitable,
not being
losing.
profitable, and you only have 6 months, Yoichi-san, to make it profitable. Like, so how confident are you? Like, what were you thinking back then?
So when Shuzo asked me to join the company, I did my due diligence and checking the industry and the company, and as a consultant working in a consulting firm, I have access to a lot of databases.
Yeah.
Right. So I did some research on my own, and I looked at the Polygon company. It had the worst rating you can actually give it to. Right. But then I also did a competitor analysis as well. I asked Shuzo, hey, who are your competitors? So I did the check, right? Their performance wasn't great, but they were making profit.
Okay.
So that kind of made me, realize, okay, this is a management problem, not an industry problem. So I knew that if we do something right in the management processes and decision making, I'm sure we can make profit because others are already making profit. So that kind of made me, realize, it can be done.
I see. That's why you're confident and make your first step into the animation
I mean,
industry.
I cannot make the company, profitable to the level that, we have a luxurious life. But I know that, if other players can make profit, we should be able to make a profit as well.
So apart from internally restructuring and everything in the company, was there any other business decision that you had to make, you have to do, that changed the course of the company, or some drastic thing in the business side we have to make as well?
There are a few things we did. One, right when we started making profit, Shuzo landed this project called My Friends Tigger and Pooh from Disney. It's a TV series for, I think it was originally it was 26 episodes for the season 1. And it was quite successful TV show, but we had to develop our own TV series pipeline on the go. So the animation we made was very good, but we lost money in the first season.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So when I joined 2005, we made a profit, right? And then the next year we lost money again because this was like very challenging project, and it was our first time creating 22 minutes show, 26 episodes. So it did require very robust pipeline. And going into season 2, we had to make few changes, and one of the things we did was we actually had to do a brainstorming session between the season 1 and season 2, gathered everybody, and we did the boot camp, saying, okay, what do we need to do to improve productivity and improve profitability? And we came up with like hundreds of ideas to make it profitable. And one of the big contribution to the profitability was hiring a lot of engineers to do a programming. And conventionally, the programmers in computer graphics industry would do a programming to make the images better. So it was more on quality side. But we hired programmers to make pipeline more efficient. So we automated hell out of tedious work that CG artists were doing. So that actually contributed in improving the productivity of artists. And we were able to improve productivity by 25% to make the second season profitable.
Wow.
But that will be in the second season, right? Because at the beginning, you have to invest into this programming. That's why probably the first year might be, a little bit of not making profit. But what you invested, it brings you the long-term plan.
So it was like a roller coaster. We finally made a profit, but because of this project, we lost money again. But we got the attention because of this project. We got the attention from the U.S. Players like Disney, and it kind of leads to our next big huge projects like Transformers, Tron Uprising, and also Clone Wars. If we hadn't done the My Friends Tigger and Pooh, nobody would have noticed as a TV series.
I'm surprised though. Like PPI was working in a lot of like the Western IPs, Western animation. How was the Japanese animation, 3D animation scene back then?
So, I think the U.S. CG industry and Japan CG industry went into separate ways. Where U.S. had Hollywood, but we didn't have that. So most of Japanese, CG studios went into game trailers. So that was the main thing in Japan back then.
Yeah, like the Final Fantasies and stuff.
Right. So more on TV commercials and game trailers. Those are the things for us. And we never had like big feature film jobs. The first TV series, as far as I know, that used computer graphics was a Mickey Clubhouse. The reason for CG not being used in TV series back then was because it was such an expensive way of making animation. 2D was more mainstream. Only Disney could afford to do a TV series using CG. And My Friends Tigger Pooh was probably the second, TV series out there using computer graphics. But because of the success of Mickey Clubhouse and probably the My Friends Tigger and Pooh, a lot of studios are willing to take that risk of making computer graphics CG-generated TV series. And a few years later, Hasbro came to us to make Transformer Prime. So, and the reason Hasbro came to us was actually some of the producers or production team in Disney moved to Hasbro, and they joined the team of Transform Prime team, and they said, "Hey, I know this studio in Japan called Polygon Pictures. Why don't we ask them?" So that's how it came. So it's all about connections.
So it's like the word of mouth from there.
Yeah.
But was it like a big thing for servicing animation studios in Japan back then to do servicing work for like Western IPs?
No, I think
PPI
we're
was
probably the first one, and we were the only one for many years. I think
see.
until like Netflix became a big thing.
Right.
So in Japan's CG community, we were probably the only one you can do like the Western projects. So I remember back then when we were doing My Friends Tigger and Pooh and also Transformers, it was relatively easier to hire people because, it was a differentiation factor. People said, "Oh, I want to work on Western project. I need to go to Polygon Pictures."
I see. So you guys that's like iconic thing
Right,
for
right.
Polygon
So
Pictures.
that was our the uniqueness back then.
I see. Yeah, because as I recall, a lot of the Western studios they came to like Southeast Asia, especially because there's a lot of studios that speak English. Is more more practical in cost as well. And I'm surprised that in Japan, like PPI works on so many different type of IP from the West as well. Yeah, so that was pretty surprising. So that's why I'm curious to ask but that time maybe was a time that where all the Western studios going to Japan, outsourcing to Japan, and maybe at a couple of years later they started to shift back to like Southeast Asia. So that's not the case, right?
I don't think that's the case. It was more like just us in Japan.
I see.
And rest of it, I think, went to India back then.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney, DreamWorks, and all they all went to
Right,
India.
right.
Yeah.
So, that's when, the Indian CG community was, exploding.
It is.
That's what it is. But I think it plays a part where you and Suzo also, because you guys are from the US as well, so you managed to build your network there as well.
So from the very beginning, Polygon Pictures was quite a unique company in Japan.
It is.
In the way that we got a lot of Western projects, but that partially because Shuzo grew up in the US. I grew up in the US, and because of that, we hired a lot of people who shared the same dream and working in the environment where we can work closely with Hollywood. So we kind of attracted the people who wants to do the similar things. So we are one of the very few studio in Japan, or probably few company in Japan that had like probably half the people, or at least like 30% of the people speak fluent English.
Oh,
wow.
okay. I wanted to ask you, like, how was the communication like working as a Japanese company working with like the US studios?
So at one time, I think peak time when we had about 300 plus people, about 20 to 30% of our staff were foreigners
Oh, wow.
from
okay.
all over the world.
Okay.
And we had, we still do, but we had probably maximum of close to like 10 translators in-house.
I see.
I see.
They had to do the translation of the materials that's received from the U.S. client, but they also had to do interpretation for the foreign workers in our Tokyo studio.
Okay.
So we had a lot of translators. So that's quite unique for any Japanese company.
It is. Yeah, because Japanese companies, especially the more traditional ones, they're pretty close grid about like everything is Japanese clients, Japanese IPs and stuff. Yeah, foreigners is not something that they usually hire.
Yeah.
And also, we were probably one of the first studio to open subsidiary overseas. In Malaysia, I think Digital Frontier came before us, but they didn't open studio. They acquired Fly Studio
Fly Studio
back then. So it was a different approach. Rather, we wanted a team here, so we decided to do a joint venture with Silverant.
Right.
Talking about this, right, coming into Malaysia, but why Malaysia, and what makes you come to Malaysia? Actually,
I get that question a lot. Before coming to Malaysia, we actually looked into going to China as well, and we also looked into Taiwan, and I did some research in Vietnam as well. But because it was our first challenge to set up a studio overseas, right? We knew that we can't do it alone. It would be probably faster, more efficient to do a joint venture. But the biggest challenge was finding the right partner wherever you go. When we were doing this, we were actually outsourcing part of Transformer Prime production to Silverant.
Okay.
But he already had, good, reputable studio in Malaysia. I didn't think he was interested in doing a joint venture with us. But, he came to us and said, "Hey, you want to bring our relationship one step further?" And we said, "Funny view," because we were looking for that too.
The same.
So that's how the conversation started. And after his visit to our studio in Tokyo, we proposed. Back then, we were still under Amana umbrella, so we proposed to Amana saying, "Hey, I want to get this done in the next 9 months to set up a joint venture in Malaysia." And Mr. Shinda, who was back then the founding CEO of Amana, said, "Do that in 6 months." So yeah, he moved quite quickly, and we set up a joint venture right next to Silver Ant.
Yeah.
And he started out naming. We named it Silver Ant PPI. I think you remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
The reason we decided to take that name was for us, it didn't matter much, but back then I think Silver Ant had better branding in Malaysia.
Yeah, they're one of the pioneers, pioneer animation studios. In Malaysia.
And I think it was easier for us to recruit people having Silver Ant brand under our name. So that was the reason for our decision. And it worked out very well in earlier days.
And during this setup, during this joint venture, is there any like internal challenges or resistance actually, to set up
in Malaysia?
in Malaysia especially?
Well, not particularly so. I think there was no resistance in the beginning because, it was our first time doing this and nobody knew what to expect. So people were excited that we were expanding and now we're the company that runs, overseas studio. So I think everybody was excited. Everybody was very cooperative in a way. I think the challenge came after we set a business plan of, okay, this is learning curves and a training and this is when we will hit the Japan quality. And, when people started seeing our challenges of meeting the quality that Japan demands on us, then they were starting to say, okay, why isn't, Malaysia hitting that quality, or why is it taking, longer time to get that quality out? And so that's when, we started investing more into training. We had to ask Japan to send more people, supervising level people to Malaysia to do the training. And we also sent some of our Malaysian locals to Japan to get a training in Japan. And we had a lot of exchange kind of program to make sure that, our quality reaches to the Japan level.
I see.
But then this comes from, the financial point of view, because sending people from Japan to Malaysia does cost some, does cost a lot because you have to provide training, right? Then is there also part of the challenge that they will reject, like, oh, why do we have to send people from Japan to Malaysia?
We always face that, and we still face that issues, right? Not because people are stubborn or anything, but it's the financial burden, right? I understand both sides of the story. To keep the company profitable, we try to minimize it, but at the same time, human communication and face-to-face communication is quite important. The biggest, I think, benefit of sending our staff to Japan is for them to get to know them personally rather than the technical training they receive. Because once they create, establish that bonding, it goes even further when, it comes to a tough time. So they will say, oh, so and so is in Malaysia. I trust that guy will do a, good job, or he will at least give his 100% to get the job done. So let's trust him and give him the task. So I think the bonding was more important in terms of sending people or sending people from Japan to Malaysia.
But why are you looking to expand outside of Japan? Was it because of the talent, the cost, or connection?
There was a combination of many things, but one was it was starting to become harder to find talents in Japan.
I see.
And there are a lot of competitors hiring as well. So we just needed somewhere else to find the resources. Two, there were some restrictions from our clients saying you cannot outsource, right?
Yep. That makes sense.
But we still had to find a way of reducing costs by, sending out to overseas So establishing our own company overseas kind of made sense. And three, of course, cost was a big issue as well. Malaysia had very competitive rate back then. So it kind of made sense for us to have operation outside of Japan and particularly in Malaysia.
While setting Yoichi, like setting up in with Silver N, what was the first three things that you do, to make it stabilize? Because, the first JV, definitely there's a lot of challenges, right? So what are the first three things that you actually did that you make a move, like how to stabilize every single thing in operation, basically?
One of the lucky thing or fortunate thing was we had about 30 artists from Silver and transferred to Silver and PPI. Those people who worked on Transform Prime. So it was like, vertical startup. We didn't lose any time setting up a company. And we also brought in the Polygon Pictures pipeline. So there was not much of a downtime in establishing the company.
Oh, wow.
So the only challenge was, like I said before, the training.
The training.
So, the first three things, I don't know if I can find three things, but it was like training. So
I see.
bringing in people from Japan, sending people to Japan as well, and making sure there's a communication between. So those, I think those were the things that we focused to make sure that we deliver quality.
How do you handle the cultural side of things? Japan and Malaysia, the way people work is extremely different.
We had that concern in the very early stages, and that is why we decided to go with joint venture rather than starting up from scratch. But we didn't actually experience so much of a cultural problem, and I think it's partially because Polygon Pictures was a unique company in Japan.
Yeah, you guys are quite international.
So we were used to having foreigners in our studio, so it was nothing new to us, I guess, to work with people from different culture. So I don't think and it's partially thanks to Silver and doing such a great job in bringing us on, but we didn't face much of a cultural problem.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's not like different country usually have like different. But surprisingly, I think Malaysia, we ourselves here, we watch a lot of anime and we adapt into Japanese culture as well. When we were very, very young age that time.
Yeah, I think because Malaysians in general are more chill compared to a lot of the Japanese company, which we heard like strict working hours. Sometimes even like a lot of overtime, and you have to listen to instructions and a lot of basically a more disciplined. But Malaysian maybe not as disciplined or as strict as Japanese companies. So somehow I was wondering how you guys tackled that differences over there.
I guess it is true to a certain degree, but it's not always the case.
Okay.
I was seeing some of the hardest working, Malaysian locals, like works for like long hours than Japanese, and they are more in
more
care about quality,
more
committed in getting the quality out, and any organization you go, there's like 20-80 rules where 20% of them are like really hardworking, and maybe 80% of do this average work and it follows the leader, right? And it's the same thing here. We find like very talented, very motivated people as well, and of course there are some people that are not up to the par.
Yeah,
but anywhere you go, you'll see that, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. That's true.
How long does the process? So previously you were saying like 30 people go into SAPI, and how long does it take like to scale the team for SAPI? Like until what stage? Like is it more than 100 or?
So immediately after we had like 30 people, we went up to 60, 70, and at the peak time we had close to 100.
Wow.
We had to like slowly downsize during around like right after COVID time or so.
COVID time, yeah.
But now we're getting back to like somewhere around 70, 80. The training was mostly on the job. So, when you get this new job, especially right after Transformer Prime, the challenge was that our Malaysian studio had to do Knights of Sidonia, which is a Japanese anime, completely different style, Japanese anime style animation. So that required quite intensive training in the way it needs to be rendered, as well as the animation style, very snappy animation. So we had to have some of the supervisors come from Japan to do the training. And we did Knights of Sidonia. Then we did, right after that, we did Ajin. And we also did Ronya the Robber's Daughter with Studio Ghibli. Those are all like Japan animation style. Yeah. And our guys had to go through the learning of what is Japanese anime, what's the characteristic, uniqueness of Japanese anime. And some of the artists became quite good at it. So these are the key players right now today in Polygon Pictures Malaysia. They learn the skill. So whenever the Japanese project come, Japan side was like, I want this guy in this project. So yeah, we're at the stage where a few of them are really good at it, and Polygon in Japan will trust these guys. That I need that guy to run the show.
I see. Speaking about like styles, Japanese styles and everything, PPI Polygon Pictures is most well known for their cell shaded 2D 2D style, but in 3D animation. Yep. How did that came about?
Good question. So I guess first thing happened was when Disney came to us and they asked us to introduce a 2D animation studio because they wanted to do a TV series of Tron called Tron Uprising. Tron is an iconic movie back in the 80s where it used computer graphics for the first time in feature film, right? So when Disney came to us and asked us to introduce 2D studios, we told them, hey, why don't we do this in CG instead of 2D and try to do a toon shader? And they bought the idea. In a very early stage, they said, let's do a hybrid of 2D and 3D. Do the characters in 2D, but background in 3D. And we actually tried that for like first episode or something, but it didn't work out. So we converted into everything to CG. But that's when we had to do R&D on how do we do the toon shaders. So we had the shader writers, experimenting with toon shaders. And our internal staff, some of the really talented guys, came up with this toon shader using Mental Ray back then.
Mental Ray. Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
But it came out so well, and right about the same time when we did the Tron, we had this new executive joining us, Eddie Moria, who's the vice president of Polygon right now. He's a number 2 guy at Polygon. He is from Gonzo. Gonzo is a 2D animation studio. So he originally was from Gonzo. And he looked at this Tron toon shader and said, hey, maybe we can do a Japanese anime. Let me contact my friends at Kodansha and see, they're interested in letting us do a toon shaded Japanese anime. And that's how he brought in Knights of Sidonia.
I see.
So we kind of went even further to establish like Japanese anime toon shaders to have the contour lines where, in Tron Uprising, we didn't have the contour line, but we added a contour line functionality into shaders to make it look like 2D anime. So that's how Knights of Sidonia came in play.
I see.
But how long do you take to R&D actually for creating a
Gosh,
tone
I
shape?
I cannot recall, but it does require a lot of
Resources and
resources.
time.
I think they did on the fly.
But what about the budget though? Because when Disney came to you guys for Tron and wanted to do in 2D, I think part of it 2D is also more cost saving, right? The whole production of doing it in 2D, and then when you bring it to 3D, it definitely will increase the cost. Although it looks like 2D.
So I guess it was lucky that it was Disney, so they're willing to invest.
Back then, I think back then it's more luxury. I guess.
They were willing to invest into this toon shader challenge, and doing that for Japanese anime was different challenge because most of the Japanese production house doesn't have as big budget as Disney.
Yeah.
So we must find a way to do it much cheaper,
Cost saving.
yeah. And that's when we started using lots of matte painting in the background, 2D matte painting.
Okay.
And characters are 3D CG. So even if we go back to like Ajin now, some people used to joke saying, "Is this really like 3D show?" Because characters move in 3D, but so much of the background is 2D.
Like 2D.
So it's kind of hybrid, rather than 3D CG. But at the same time, you need to give the taste that it has a depth, right? Even though you're doing the matte painting, but at the same time, you need to look somewhat similar to 2D artists. So back in the days when we did Ajin, the toon shaded Japanese anime was still a new thing, and everybody is still trying to find what's the answer, what's the right direction or right answer for it, and it was still experimental stage, I guess. So if you look at it today, it might look little strange or weird because it's not completely toon shaded 2D animation, but it's not fully CG, either.
Yeah, correct.
It's sort of like have a unique style to it. Right. It's not really a 2D anymore, but it's just like a painted kind of a texture.
So it was in a way very controversial anime where there were some haters,
Definitely, I bet.
right?
Definitely,
But there
I
were
bet.
some supporters as well, and especially I think when you go outside of Japan, there were a lot of supporters. But in Japan, there was still a lot of haters because they expected 2D anime.
2D anime.
And they were saying, this isn't it, right?
This is not anime.
This is not right.
Yeah,
This is not right.
But, that criticism gave us more hint to, okay, so how can we make it better next round? So it gave us a direction to improve our toon shader.
So from Tron to Knights of Sidonia, that's where you guys are getting more and more project that is
Toon
related to toon
Right,
shade,
right.
because you guys are well known for that after that.
Right.
I see.
Because I felt like I think Polygon Picture is very well known doing toon shade.
So
Yeah.
at
Even
one
until today.
time, like majority of the project became toon shaded, and even the US clients came to us to do a toon shaders.
shader.
So after we did the Transformer Prime, we did another show, and it was toon shaded Transformer. And also Disney or the Lucasfilm came to us. They wanted us to do the Star Wars Resistance. They wanted us to do it in toon shader as well. It's not Japanese toon shader, but even the US client wanted,
Toon shade.
saw us as toon shader specialist, so they came to do a toon shader.
I see.
And at one point, our lighting guys got so sick of doing toon shader stuff.
I wanted to ask you that. As how did the team felt after doing toon shader for so many years?
Yeah, so they wanted to. I wanted to do more and more like really like,
Realistic,
realistic one.
photorealistic
And that's
stuff.
when Amazon Prime came to us and asking us to do Lost in Oz.
Oh, okay. Lost in Oz.
And also later, Apple TV came to ask us to do the Stillwater. Those are more like Pixar kind of look. So our like lighting artists especially, they were so happy to work on those projects.
Like finally, I'm out from the tune shade.
Yeah. But still, today we do lots of tune shaded stuff. So I think guys are getting used to it. But now and then we get like really photorealistic stuff. So
Does team struggle with it? Like they're so used to doing tune shaded now, photorealistic stuff. Maybe it's not their forte anymore. They can't execute as well as some other studios.
That happens
you guys
as
face
well.
that as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always a challenge. Right.
And speaking in terms of budget, like you mentioned, Disney has high budget. As we know, the current state of the CG industry is definitely on a decline. Budget, on a lot of production has been cut, lowered, but quality still remain as high. Hence, a lot of studios are not getting profitable or struggling to stay profitable. So what are your thoughts on that, and how is PPI doing differently to try to stay afloat? Try to improve the situation.
Because I think this situation where back then I think Polygon Picture also facing, right, and then suddenly this state of current animation industry also the same. Like, how would you?
Yeah.
Right, and I guess one of the reason we really did R&D in Toon Shader was that knowing that every studio has to have a differentiation factor. You need to separate yourself from other studios. You need to stand out, right? So for the last, I think, 10 years or plus, the Toon Shader gave us a little bit of edge, and client was, willing to come to us because we're known for it. But at the same time, Toon shaders are now a commodity, basically. It's commoditized. Everybody, almost everybody can
like
do it.
Arcane and stuff. It's doing some really, really kick-ass Toon Shader stuff.
So now we need to find different ways to differentiate ourselves. It's same in any other industry. If you become complacent, you will lose a competitive edge. You have to continuously innovate. And, to separate yourself from all the other players so your client will recognize it. Oh, this guy is different. So they will pick us. And, there's added value to what you do. So we're still trying to, find
what makes you guys different.
Next stage. But I think that's what we're trying to do. And I think a lot of studios are doing that, understanding that innovative side of creative business. And when I see Love, Death, and Robots, there's so many studios trying to do different look with, different art directions. And it's very inspiring to see, other players challenging, new look. And actually, delivering some like really, really cool stuff out there. So we're just trying not to fall behind.
I think Polygon Picture, I'm not too sure whether is it okay to talk about it, because I understand Polygon Picture actually did Love, Dead and Robots.
Yes, we did one episode in season 3, and we just recently did another episode in season 4 as well.
Wow. How was it, the experience working with Love, Dead, Robot?
It was challenging because one of the first show we did, the Very Pulsar Machine, we had to do everything remotely during COVID time. Originally, the plan was the director from the Blur studio will come to Japan and guide us through it. Then the COVID happened, and they had to stay in LA, and even our artists had to stay at home and still create that show. So it was quite challenging.
Wow.
And I think it was more challenging for the Blur side, the director, Emily, to get it done. So she gave us a lot of video references and instructions to get it done. And if you have seen it, it's a two-shaded show.
Yeah.
And it's a quite interesting story. But we're very happy with the outcome of that show.
How was like the production budget and everything? Do you guys like ran into production budget issue working on such a high profile episode, or the whole
Yeah,
the
I
whole
mean,
title
in
itself?
general, those challenging projects would have, higher budget, but at the same time, it's much more challenging, right?
and yeah, a lot of
So-
revisions and stuff.
Many, I can't disclose the details, but in many cases, we end up losing money doing those high-end
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. That's what I was curious to ask.
But at the same time, there's a learning and also, the respect you gain from the fellow industry people. So, I would like to think that it was worth it, and I would definitely encourage people to do it if there's an opportunity for us to do another episode.
Because it's able to show the credibility of your studio,
Right. Yes.
right, and also
Yes.
you willingly to innovate,
Mm-hmm.
right? But how do you balance it? Because like innovation equals, you have to survive. Is a sometimes wherever that we have to innovate, we have to use some resources and cash, in order to innovate.
So it's about having the portfolio of projects, right? And there may be some very quality challenging projects that it's not going to make much money, but you'll take it anyway because of the value it has.
Yeah.
But there are projects that has much more higher profitability. It may not be so interesting for the artist, but we look at the overall portfolio and we need to take this job as well as this job, in order to make things work.
So that's how you
altogether.
justify.
Yes, I guess so.
I see.
And how do you see the industry moving forward? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's becoming more challenging for everyone, especially we are facing momentary kind of slowdown of the market, but I think eventually it will come back again, because the amount of entertainment consumed by people, especially like the visual entertainment, is increasing, whether it's a game or a streaming service. More people are spending more time with their phones
On YouTube.
and your iPad.
TikTok. Yeah.
So I'm sure there'll be more entertainment created in coming years. The challenge is that in like YouTube world, TikTok world, people are creating something like short span.
Yeah. Like shorts,
Short
30-second
duration,
shorts,
yeah.
1
Right,
minute shorts.
but-
30 seconds, 1 minute.
And many of them, quality are not there, but it's still okay because it's entertaining enough
Yeah.
to get your attention. And these are the things that we are going to compete, right? I guess it's going to be more competitive landscape. The professional studio that's high quality stuff, but there are like very low quality stuff that is almost available free. And you are actually competing for viewers, time and wallet.
Yeah, exactly.
I think not just a production studio like us, but people, the publishers or broadcasters, they are, trying to find a strategy to stay, afloat in this new generation, new era. So we'll see how it goes.
I see. Do you struggle like having the artists, because right now, like you said, shorts on like TikTok, YouTube, quality is not that high, and definitely the budget is not going to be that high as well. It's definitely going to hamper a bit of like the motivation and the passion on the artist side, because it's not so much about creating high quality stuff anymore. It's about trying to gain attention, making it cost effective, produce fast stuff as quick as possible to gain views and stuff.
I think it's the market itself is expanding, right? So there will be no budget, low quality, segment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think there will still be high budget, high quality segment as well. So those artists who wants to stay in this segment, it's going to be more competitive for them.
Yeah, because everybody wants to be in there.
Right.
Yeah.
But there will be a segment.
Yeah,
I
and
think.
maybe not as much content that it used to be.
Right,
Yeah, because
but
it's
it
all
will still
split
be
now.
there.
Yeah. So I guess artists will have to choose their path, I guess, like to
Right.
stay here or,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
They have to
Right.
adapt anyway.
that they
I
adapt.
agree.
No, I wanted to ask Yoichi whether Polygon will expand globally other than in Malaysia.
So we don't have any motivation to expand. We kind of feel comfortable at our current size, and we expand only when it's necessary. Basically, we're no longer owned by venture capitalists whose motivation is to, maximize the profitability and return to the shareholders. We're no longer in that position. So basically, we want to be at the size where we feel most comfortable and make sure that our artists are comfortable and business is sustainable. So for now, I think our current size, is quite comfortable size. That said, I think we're hiring, probably globally around 100 more people in Malaysia, India, and Japan. But that's only because there's new projects coming in, and we'll probably try to manage this new demand of projects. Sometimes working with outsourcing partners and sometimes the freelancers, and try not to expand too much, so that we can stay in a comfortable size.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to overhire and overexpand.
Right.
And caught off guard. Right.
Right,
And then you have
right.
to go through layoffs and stuff.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah. And you don't want to go back to that era where you have to
The first
the
and
first
last
time.
layoff ever.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on AI? I want to touch a bit on AI very quickly, briefly. And what are your thoughts on AI? And is it affecting the growth decision in Polygon Pictures as well?
I think it will.
Okay.
I think it's still early to see how much impact it will have on us. But people who are underestimating the impact of AI is going to feel the hit very big, I think. I don't know how that is going to hit us, but I'm sure it will hit. And it will, automate a lot of things that we didn't expect. I have a friend here in Malaysia who's really he was actually helping on our shaders back when he was with us, but he's now into AI, and he told me this story where he said, when you create CG animation, it's a very inefficient way of making animation. And I asked him, why so? And she said, CG animation, you build this model and you rig it and you animate in this 3D world, but at the end of the day, you render it, making it into flat 2D again, right? What if AI can actually convert the 2D into 3D look? It's not 3D anyway.
Yeah.
So what if the AI is capable of saying, hey, make this Ghibli animation
that's interesting.
look like pixel look?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's a matter of time that capability will be there.
Yeah.
And when that happens, all the processes that we develop in the pipeline we develop for CG animation is going to be useless.
Yeah.
So imagine that, it's going to be a game changer.
Yeah. I think that's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Like drawing things in 2D, convert it
Going to 3D.
3D instead of doing 3D and convert it. I think that's a really interesting perspective. Interesting. And do you see it having a huge impact on the workforce of artists even more artists losing their job in the future?
I think it is possible. I think it's unavoidable that some people, I think it will be more efficient in making animation. But, if you look back in any industry with engineering revolution or innovation happening, we're just repeating the history, right? Something get automated, and some people will, lose some jobs, but there will be new jobs created because of that.
True.
And I think, our industry will go through the similar processes where, some people will lose jobs, but there will be some new jobs created from it. And whether the new jobs that will be created will replace equal amount of work that was deleted, probably not. But there will still be creative jobs remaining.
Yeah, because there's like transition going like 2D, then go 3D, and then there's the computer come in. Previously it was pencil, and paper. Yeah, I think we have to go through that anyway. Yeah.
Interesting. That's an interesting point.
I have one, for myself, I have one last question for Yoichi-san. I mean, is Polygon Picture creating any IPs? It's like, will you create your own IP or, just for servicing projects?
So right now, we have two types of works. One is work for hire. We do just a service work, and we don't own any rights. The other half is, it's not 100% owned by us, but we do the adaptation of manga to animation. And we do a lot of kodansha properties,
Right.
adapted into animation. And whenever we do the animation, we invest a little bit, sometimes 10%, sometimes 20%. And so we have a royalty coming in from that. So most recently, we did a feature film in Japan called Hypnosis Mic. And it's the first interactive feature film in Japan where actually it's a rap battle. And during the feature film, audiences have time to vote for which rap band won the battle using their phones.
The phone.
And the outcome changes depending on.
It's like an interactive media.
Right. And we actually invested, a small percentage of that. And it's doing quite well in Japan.
Wow.
So part of the box office hit will come to us as a production studio who invested into it. So that has been our strategy, where we are not creating 100% IP, but we try to own some of the portion of that IP that already exists. That's a way of hedging the risks of completely flopping with,
from scratch.
From creating IP from scratch.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the priority that we have is we don't want to make business into crapshoot. This is not a gamble. And we don't want to gamble with our employees' jobs at risk.
Yeah. You don't want to, like, this movie flops, we're going to shut down, we're going to lose.
It's just a matter of preferences. Some studios are meant to do things like that, and I think everybody come on board knowing it's a risky thing and do it. But we're not that kind of studio. At least for now, we are not. So we are not going to take the risk of, hey, we're going to create an IP. If we don't make it, we'll go bust. But if we do it, everybody's going to be rich. We won't take that risk. But at some point, we wish we can do some feature film in the U.S. market with our own IP. Yeah, that's probably the dream for many of our artists. So we hope we'll get to that point sometime. I don't know it's going to happen before I retire or after I retire. But, I think that vision is always going to be there.
I see.
But talking about retire, are you going to retire in Malaysia or are you going to go back to Japan?
That's a great question.
No, actually, I would not mind staying here as long as I can. But I enjoy being half the time in Japan and half of the time in Malaysia, and also maybe like 10% of the time traveling around the world. I enjoy that. So I hope, even after I retire, I can continue to do that, spend, my time here in Malaysia as well as spending in Japan. And maybe I travel to India or some other places and, being, exposed to different cultures and you learn from it too. So I hope I can continue to do that even after my retirement.
Do you found it excited? Were you excited to come to Malaysia when you guys were setting up here, or you were like, oh, dreaded to come here? But when you came here, then you found the then you opened your eyes.
No. I was so excited that I can do something outside of Japan.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't matter where. I probably would have enjoyed it anywhere in the world.
Right.
So I was excited, but I never thought I will fall so much in love with this country that I love being here. So that was unexpected.
So what do you love about Malaysia the most?
Gosh, so many things. But weather is nice.
Okay.
Food is nice.
Okay.
Food.
People are nice. So I just enjoy chilling, hanging out with my local friends.
Right.
And just enjoying like char kway teow at kopitiam with like glass of beer.
Yeah, glass of beer, char kway teow. You can't go wrong.
Wrong, right? Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of food, I know you mentioned char kway teow. Is there any food that you came to Malaysia, you tasted it, and it's like the best food you ever taste in your life?
Well, nasi lemak was like really new to me.
Okay.
Said, wow, steaming rice with coconut milk. That,
Sambal.
yeah, sambal, and it was. But I like spicy food,
Ah.
so I really enjoy eating Malaysian food. And I like people challenging me to eat spicy food, and I can say, bring it on. So yeah, I enjoy like different aspect of Malaysian food. We talked about nasi kandar a little bit earlier, but I love nasi kandar stuff as well.
So I just have one or two more questions so that we can wrap up this
Yeah.
whole conversation nicely. So what is the vision that you have for PPI moving forward?
PPI, PPM.
I think maybe both. If if it's both have the same vision, maybe, or it's a completely different vision.
So now I want to talk about PPM
Okay.
because we're heading to a different direction from what was our strategy for the last few years. Recently, we at Polygon Pictures Malaysia being allowed to work directly with client, meaning before 100% of the job came from Polygon Pictures, but now we work directly with our client, and it's a new challenge for our artists, but they have been doing so well, and this year I think more than 50% of the work that we do will come from client other than Polygon Pictures.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's a new challenge for our team in Malaysia, and I hope to go through that path, and so that our artists here in Malaysia is recognized by clients saying, "Hey, there's a good studio in Malaysia that can deliver the quality and in timely manner." So that's the new challenge we're facing, and I think our artists are up for that challenge. So that's something we're focusing on.
So PPM to become a more independent studio by itself.
Not independent, but more autonomous.
Autonomous.
And so we can contribute to Polygon from the profitability and revenue perspective,
I see.
not just as a service studio to do the work for them.
Just using talents and resources.
Right.
And what about PPI Japan?
Polygon, I think, as I said earlier, one of the big dream has been to have like a big hit, and whether it's a feature film or TV series, but something that we own rights and do a big hit. That's been a dream. So there's a gradual step for that, I guess. And I think Hypnosis Michael is one of the first steps to get close to that because it did quite well in box office. But we are continuing to look for like really interesting IP and hope that our artists will get the recognition that they deserve. So I think that's probably the next step for
A
Polygon.
big hit in terms of collaborating with other IPs, right, from Kodansha or something you built from like scratch?
It doesn't matter,
matter?
actually, as long as we know that there's the great IP and story that we feel confident, then I think all artists are willing to give the 100% to get that out and people to see and enjoy, I guess.
I see. And my last question is, what is the one advice you would give studio leadership, like animation studio, game studio, the leadership of the studio? What is the one advice you would give them to manage and lead the studio properly or in the best manner?
Wow, that's hard because we're struggling ourselves.
But there must be something you guys have done right,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
definitely.
Having in the business for so long.
Yeah, one lessons we learn is, how do you differentiate yourself? And, when you have successful formula, you have tendency and motivation to stick with it for as long as you can.
Okay.
But, any formula will become commodity at certain point. You get commoditized. So you have to continuously innovate or, have differentiation kind of edge in your operation. So, I guess it's very important that you keep innovating and prepare for the next stage. I think it's a common truth for any industry leader. And I think we had the good experience with the Toon Shader, but we really cannot be complacent
Yeah.
and try to foresee what's next
Forward
was.
thinking.
Right. Yeah, I think that's important for any leaders, I guess.
Cool. Definitely. I mean, in the fast-moving world with AI and everything, I think if we just take a step slower, I think we will get irrelevant pretty fast.
Yeah, agree.
I agree. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's all the questions that
Yeah.
we have, and this is an amazing conversation.
Yes, definitely.
Knowing the history of PPI, not just like one founder opened the studio and that's it,
Yeah.
right? Going through so
Like
many
going
stages,
through so many stages.
so
yeah.
many stages, management and Yoichi San, you and Suzo, building such an amazing company.
Oh, thank you.
you
Thank
know,
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and coming into bringing all the new technologies and learning into Malaysia as well, and growing the people here as well.
Yes.
And of course, loving Malaysia, food and culture over here.
yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Yoichi-san. For where can people look for you? Do you have any social media or about the company yourself?
Well, yeah, of course, you can look for Polygon Pictures Malaysia and Polygon Pictures in any social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So come look for us, please.
Cool. Yeah. So we will drop all those links in the description below. So feel free to check it out. And thank you, Yoichi-san, for coming onto the
My
show.
pleasure. Thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
inviting me here.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing everything. Yeah, so this is the end of the episode. If you guys enjoy this episode, like and subscribe. If not, if you discover this journal, don't keep it to yourself, share it to the world, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.